Hey guys, I'm back with my summer party / barbecue prep video as promised. I mentioned in last week's video, which showcased how I get ready for house guests, and I will put a link to that below if you missed that and are interested, that I had originally planned on getting this video up in time for the Memorial Day weekend, but then I decided I wanted to film all the way up to and even through some of my party to include that footage in the video and make it more of a complete video. Because I did post last September an easy barbecue prep video. I will link that below too. I actually don't remember what was in that video, but you'll see, I'm certain that about 99% of my preparatory techniques are the same, because this is kind of what I've perfected for me, a system that works for me for party prep. And actually, it's not just for summer barbecue parties, but for parties year-round. But the specific one I'm going to show you this time is how I prepared for my Memorial Day barbecue. Now, every year on Memorial Day weekend, we throw a kicking off summer barbecue on the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. Here in the States, Monday is a national holiday, and most, if not all of the people in my family get that day off of work. So that's why I like having the party on Sunday, so it's not like a school night or a work night, and people can stay and enjoy. And we always serve our famous margaritas, which are a little bit lethal, so it's good to have like a day to sleep in the next day or whatever. But so this is an annual party that we throw, and we've kind of also perfected our menu. And to be honest, we throw between 2 or 4 like big parties, like barbecue parties like this a year. And we basically serve the same thing at every time. Because, first of all, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And second of all, it's just so easy and delicious. I'll kind of take you through my menu when I get to that part of the showing you how I prep and stuff. I did film during my prepping process, but again, I don't really remember what I filmed, so if this seems a little discombobulated, I apologize. I don't know where I'm going to insert footage and stuff. But because I was also having house guests, and I knew my family was coming up, my brother and his family were driving up and spending the weekend at my parents' house, and my parents live about a 20-minute drive away from us, that I would have plans with the family Saturday evening, and then all of Monday, and my party is on Sunday. So I had to keep that in mind when prepping, and also keeping in mind that I had house guests coming, and I wanted my house to look pretty put together when they got here. They came on Saturday, and so while I would usually set everything out either Friday or Saturday before a Sunday party, I waited until Sunday to do most of the laying out of things. But having had this kind of party so many times, and knowing exactly what I wanted to put out in terms of serverware and how I wanted to set up tables and things, just really helped me be able to do sort of like last minute preparations like that. But I was already very prepared in my mind. Now, a lot of being prepared in my mind for me is making lists. If you have seen my Filofax calendar video, I don't remember. This is my Filofax. I have a day at a glance kind of calendar sort of thing where it's a day on each page. In the weekends it's one page is 2 days. And I write lists almost every day of the year in this book. So I had spent, a while before kind of prepping, about Wednesday or so before. So, before the party was on Sunday, so about 5 days ahead, I started cleaning out the garage. I started getting out my outdoor furniture up ready. I wanted to make sure that my lawn and stuff was in good shape in case of good weather, and I wanted to plant some plant some pots in the backyard just to add a little, a nice touch there. And also I went through all my paper products and made sure I had plenty, and all the napkins and things I wanted to use. And this is just around the middle of the week where I really started to kind of hone things down, figure out what I wanted to do, and then plan my menu, which, like I said, is pretty much set, and then do my grocery shopping. I did that on Friday. I like to do it about 2 days before a party, so everything is fresh in terms of fruits and vegetables and things of that nature, but that I don't have to run to the store. I go over my menu and recipes like 3 or 4 times just to make sure I'm not missing anything, etc. So first, I guess I will show you. I had earlier in the week, maybe like a week ahead of the party, made a little list. Here, this little guy. Oh, there goes that. It says Memorial Day Prep on it. And it just was like a basic outline of things that I wanted to do before the weekend. So clean the guest room closet, which was in last week's video. Prep the guest room and the guest bathroom, also in last week's video. And I did all that earlier in the week, so I would have it done. Set my menu and make my shopping list. Like I said, I set my menu about Wednesday and I went shopping on Friday. Acquire silverware and plates, etc. I actually had enough on hand. I didn't have to buy anything, so that was nice. Clean outdoor furniture and put out cushions, and clean up garage. So those were my main things. Now this time of year I always clean my garage. I have my garage power washed, usually at the end of May, like right before the Memorial Day weekend, annually. And I think I took some footage of that, so I'll show you guys how that turned out. I think maybe they were pictures. Yeah, I think I took pictures. I don't think I took footage. So I'll just post the pictures over this so you guys can see. You know, I keep my garage as organized as I can for a garage. Garages don't tend to be the most organized places in my experience, at least for me, because my husband likes to just like dump things around in there, and I do too. I'm guilty of that as well. So once a year I just like to sort through everything, pick up, kind of put things aside that I need to either donate or give away or toss right before I get it power washed. So when I have it power washed, you know, it's already clean, and then it's just like extra clean afterwards. And the only reason I really do the power washing once a year is because living in Chicago with the winters and all the salt and the ice and stuff from the winter. I mean, even this year was pretty mild winter, but our garage was still really messy. It just gets all of that grime and stuff off the garage floor and keeps it nice and clean until next winter. So that was you know, kind of like step one of getting the house actually ready. That didn't include getting ready for guests. And then I set my menu. So what I did was first of all I had invited my guests. Now it's a family party, so I have this party annually. Most people know about it. I only invite family. We had about 20 this year. We can have anywhere from 15 to 25 depending on who's visiting and who can come or not, who's working or whatever. So I set my guest list. I figured out I had 19 guests, and I sent out a reminder email. I don't even send out invitations for this anymore. I did the first couple of years we had the party, but we've been having it every year for so many years now that it just seems kind of silly. I sent out a reminder email just telling them what time I was having the party at 5 and who had offered to bring sides and such. So I did that about a week ahead. And then I set my menu. So my menu is basically the same for this party every year, and some things will fluctuate, kind of like what snacks and desserts I do. Those will fluctuate, but the main are always set. And I'll go through the menu, and you'll see some of the food in the footage that I post. But my husband Don loves to smoke meat. We have like this huge cast iron smoker that was handmade in Texas in our backyard. So he makes baby back ribs with homemade barbecue sauce and rack of lamb with homemade smoked vegetable relish. And those are like the two main things we serve, which are huge hits with our crowd, with our family. And then I always make cornbread pudding, which you guys will see. And my mother-in-law always brings her barbecue baked beans. My sister and brother-in-law always bring caprese salad. And my mom always brings her pasta salad. And those things, I mean, that's a lot of food. And we also have like a lot of snacks out because I like people to be at the party for a couple of hours before dinner, since it was an early party anyway. We ate about 7. People came about 5, so they had a couple hours to, you know, have snacks and chit-chat and stuff like that before the serious eating had to happen. But it's a lot of food, but it's barbecue fare. And it's, you know, I always set it up as a buffet on my counter in my kitchen, which you guys will see in the footage as well. And people just serve themselves, so if you don't want something or you want a little more of something else or a little less of something else, sort of do your own thing. I had 2 hot hors d'oeuvres this year, spinach squares, which I made the day before on Saturday, and pigs in blankets, which I just bought from the grocery store. And then my Aunt Julie brought what is wrong with my brain? Salami, provolone roll-ups, or basically like pieces of salami with rolled up over provolone with like a black olive and a toothpick stuck through it. They're really yummy. And then I just put out my regular kind of like snacky summer party fare. And a lot of this I put out year-round, especially for more casual parties like this or like the Super Bowl party or something like that. Guacamole and salsa with chips, onion dip with potato chips, hummus and veggies, and pretzels and nuts just sort of strewn about. And then for dessert this year, I decided to make 2 kinds of pie. I'd originally planned on making cupcakes, but the last minute when I was at the store on Friday, I actually saw that they had beautiful, beautiful cherries, so I decided to make blueberry pie and cherry pie. So that was fun. And also on Saturday, I made chocolate chip cookies because I always send those home with guests. So my menu is pretty much set year round. I mean, I can totally see how you'd want to change a menu for different parties, but our family just loves this menu so much that I don't often change it for these like big, large-scale parties, because also another thing is it's so helpful to me that so many people bring sides and Dawn makes all the main courses. So I just make one side and the desserts and the snacks and stuff. So that takes a lot of the time commitment of cooking off of my plate. So that was my menu prep. And I did make, like I said a week before, I made sort of like a basic list. I showed you guys that really rough draft one that was in my calendar. Well, then I kind of finalized it. I'll just go through it and show you. On Saturday, I put away all my spring decor, all my Easter and like spring decorations, and put my house back to normal. On Sunday, we went to the Cubs game, so that was out. On Monday, I cleaned the garage. Tuesday's my day for errands, so I didn't do any party prep on that day. On Wednesday, I prepared the guest room, and I planted the outdoor pots. On Thursday, I continued preparing for the guest room and gave Winnie a bath and did my menu planning and all that. On Friday, I went shopping for the party, and I had other errands and stuff. And then on Saturday, I baked the cookies, the cornbread, and the spinach squares. And that's the day that my guests arrived, and we hung out with them, and then we went to dinner at my parents' house. And then Sunday, I prepped outside and baked the desserts and got ready for the party. So I guess now I feel like I've been rambling on forever. I feel like I should show you a bit more about what I did. Actually show you the footage now, if I haven't already inserted it. I know this is like, I should really have watched the footage before I filmed this part of the video, but I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the things I filmed, some of the party prep that I did. And I'll catch up with you guys at the end. I think I even filmed a few snippets of the party in action so you guys can see kind of like how the things flowed. So without further ado, here is my preparation footage. Well, it's Saturday, which is the day before the party and also the day that my guests arrive. And I've started prepping. Usually 1 to 2 days before I'd have a lot more already set up, but because we're having house guests and I want my house to look kind of normal for them, I know they probably wouldn't mind and it's kind of silly, but that's just what I want, so I don't want to put a lot of things out yet. But we're cooking. Don does some cooking ahead of time. He likes to make his ribs the day ahead and the vegetables for his smoked veggie relish for his rack of lamb that he serves. So he's been working on that today, so that's out there. And I just kind of thought I'd show you my kitchen right now, how it looks, how my fridges look, and just sort of this like preparing without being too messy kind of thing. So here's my fridge, day before party fridge. It's been fuller, but here it is. You can see there's a lot of eggs. I got a lot of baking to do. Backups of everything. egg whites, half and half, milk. You know, we're having guests, so I want to make sure we have plenty of that sort of things, because although we'll be probably having lunch and definitely dinners with the family out at either my parents' house or out to dinner or whatever, we're having breakfast here, so I just wanted to prep. And then I have some party things, specific things. I kind of dedicated a shelf to party things. I have all of the blueberries for my blueberry pie I'm going to make tomorrow. All of the veggies to put on the veggie platter. So much unsalted butter for all my baked things. You can see it's all just... It's basically how my fridge usually looks, but it's just a little more crowded than usual. I don't like to keep a lot of food on hand. There's only 2 of us living here 99.9% of the time, and I just hate wasting food. So this is pretty full. And I just made sure we had backups of condiments and things of that nature. So the fridge is ready to go. I've already started prepping. I'm baking just a few things today. I like to bake my desserts on the day of consumption because I just think they taste better, but today I'm going to make 3 things, so I pulled my recipes for that. I'm going to make the cornbread pudding. Oh, it's called corn pudding. We've been calling it cornbread pudding for all these years. Well, anyway, so I have that all set up and ready to go out here because that reheats really nicely. I'm going to make the spinach squares, a recipe I got from my grandma, which are an appetizer, which are better the next day, if not like months later after being frozen. They just get tastier. And my chocolate chip cookies, because I always like to send guests home with a little sweet treat. They get lots of leftovers anyway usually, but I always make chocolate chip cookies and put them in little goodie bags to send them home with. So I'll show you guys that. I've got my butter softening for my cookies, and then I just bought a couple of packages of muffins for my house guests. I don't know what they want for breakfast, so just a little muffin or something to tide them over until we can take them out or something, or make them an omelet or whatever. So I got blueberry muffins and banana nut muffins from Whole Foods, and they look yummy. And like I said, we've been cooking, so kitchen's just a little dirty, but I bought a couple new plates for my nieces. Fun little section plates. Kids love these kinds of things. Let's face it, I love it too. And you can probably kind of see if you've watched my other seasonal house tours that I have just reverted my house back to its regular decor. This is how it is in the summer. There's no like special stuff up or anything. This is just it at its most basic decorated level. Less is more in the summer, I think. So usually I would already have my table leaf in and all my chairs up and my pad on and the, you know, and the table, oh my gosh, cloth, that's it. But like I said, I wanted my house to continue to look nice. I did put away my computer and my little magazine baskets, if you watched that video. But I've left my little brown bin out because I use that stuff every morning. So I'm going to keep that out until tomorrow, which is party day, at which point I'll put it in the closet. And I have all of my recipes flagged for the things that I'm not making today. I'm making cupcakes from Martha Stewart Cupcakes book, and the blueberry pie from the Martha Stewart's Baking Handbook is my favorite. Of course, I have my to-do list in my file of facts. It's not very big today because, like I said, we have guests and then we're all going over to my parents' house for dinner. So I don't have that much to do today, but for tomorrow I will make a much more detailed to-do list. That won't fit in here. I'll put it on a separate sheet. And I did talk about this already, but I have my little planning list out for the whole week. I'm already down to here, so that's going well. And then I have put out my menu, and I have indicated on the things that I wanted to make today, which is Saturday. I put a little sat next to them, and the things that other people are making or bringing have their names next to them. Everything else is to be prepared on Sunday. So again, normally I would have all of my paper products kind of like strewn out here, but I wanted this to be neat. I'm actually going to tuck this away. I have my s'mores bin out. I'm like the only person on the planet who has a bin dedicated to s'mores, but that's all ready to go. It's supposed to be really hot tomorrow, so we'll see if we want to build a fire or not. But Honey May came out with these new crackers, which are really cool. They're already like cut down to size, so that's nice. So that's all ready to go. And actually, I'm just going to tuck that over here for now. This is where my dry goods like chips and buns and salsa that's unopened and nuts and things are stashed over here because normally I'd have everything out on the table with the platter and serving pieces going in, but again, I'm going to do that all tomorrow morning. My parents are taking my guests for the day so I can run around like a crazy person and get ready without feeling like a bad hostess. So that's all just kind of tucked behind there, which is great. And then I have my little bin, which is always here, but I started collecting some of my paper products in here, the decorative napkins and plates, and cupcake things and such. And I just pulled down, or had Dawn pull them down because I'm short, the bins that usually live in my mudroom over there with all of my paper goods. We're having about 20 people, and I just decided, I actually bought like reusable plastic plates for these kind of parties, but I just can't do all of that all of the dishes when I have house guests. Is just too much. But I prefer to use reusable things, but you know, sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and use the tossable stuff. So I have, you can see I have plenty of silverware and serving pieces, or serving utensils I should say, and napkins and things. These are just sort of all year round things. I'll probably be using these plates because they're really heavy duty and we're having very heavy duty food. And I will put out the plastic cups for water, and the plastic cups for drinks actually live in the bar. So I'm gonna pick out all the things I want from there and put them into that basket so it's all ready to go for tomorrow, and then put those bins away. And I went ahead and bought a new tabletop citronella candle. It's not terribly buggy yet, but it's gonna be really hot tomorrow, so that might dry out some bugs. Just another thing to prep. And I guess I'll just show you this fridge too in the mudroom. This is what we call the beverage fridge, but it also houses the meat. So you can see there's Don's lamb. The lamb he cooks on the day of the party. It only takes about an hour to smoke that. The ribs are on right now. Here, I'll show you. There they are in the smoker. And there's the man with the plan. Anyway, they're cooking. And he's just got a little setup here. And that makes it really easier on the party day to have that already done. Plus they just taste better after they've been cooked and sit in the fridge overnight. But we kind of filled out our beverages. You know, we don't drink soda really ever, but I got soda for guests, Diet Coke and Sprite, mini cans, and we always have tonic water and club soda, cranberry juice, that sort of thing, fizzy water, lots of white wine and champagne, backup butter, my favorite butter, and that's my secret weapon in baking, is this butter. That makes everything taste awesome. And then just some more natural sodas if people want that. Don's homemade barbecue sauce, we made a huge batch last year and froze it, which is great. We didn't have to make it this year, so another awesome thing. We got lots of beer, and we made limeade. Actually, Don made it for me this year, which was a great time saver. He's been really, really helpful because we were serving our deadly homemade margaritas, so the secret ingredient to that is homemade limeade. And then we do have water filters, but I just find it easier to use bottled water just for parties. So I have that chilling in here. It's just easy to dump one into a nice looking pitcher and have it on hand. You know, then I don't have to be like standing under the refrigerator water tap for like 20 minutes to get that much water out. And just back up limes for the margaritas to serve, and then lemons for my cupcakes. So that is the beverage fridge. And I'll just show you because some people might be interested, but this is our mudroom closet. You guys have seen it. I've kind of transitioned into spring and summer with my outdoor backpacks and things instead of scarves. But I did tuck the magazine baskets in here, which I talked about in my magazine storage video. That's where they go when we have guests or parties. And I'll probably close the store when the party is on because I just think it looks nicer. I mean, not a lot of people are in here, but they do come in for beverages, sort of a serve yourself situation. And I will put my my brown box, that Tribeca box from the Container Store that houses all of my stuff that sits on the stool in the kitchen. I'll put that on top of that, and on top of that I'll put the catch-all basket that sits on that kitchen stool right there. Whew, this is a whirlwind. Okay, lastly, to prep, Don went to the liquor store yesterday, and we have a lot of different kinds of liquor on hand because people in our family like different things. But you can see all my cups there. I might need to buy a few more. But we did, replenish our vodka because that's the most popular thing. And we have a couple bottles of tequila and Cointreau. But the margaritas taste like candy and go fast. So we just bought some backup tequila and Cointreau. Those are the main ingredients in our homemade margaritas. It's tequila, Cointreau, and limeade. And lastly, today I will be baking, like I said, but I don't want to do too much because I want to spend some time with my house guests. But also important thing is to make ice. So I have an ice maker in my basement in the laundry room that just plugs in. I got it from Front Gate or something. And I just use jugs of water to fill it. It's just easier than bringing it upstairs to where the filter is. So I'm going to start making ice today. We have a freezer down there, and I keep Ziploc bags down there, and I'll just start putting bags of ice in the freezer down there. So it's ready to go for party day because ice goes the fastest at a party. And that, my friends, is what I've done to prep so far. So I am going to sort through my paper products, make sure I've got everything I need, and put those bins away, and then start baking, and my guests will be here in just a couple of hours. And I'll check back in with you either later or tomorrow, depending on how things go. Well, it's Sunday, party day. It's just after 1 o'clock. My house guests were picked up about 10 this morning by my dad. They're hanging out with my family today while I get ready for the party because I have a lot to do and it just wouldn't be so much fun. And I've done a lot already, actually. I'm in really good shape. Even with not having the house prepped as much as usual ahead of time because of the guests. It's only one, and I've really done the majority of things. Now, the summer barbecues are easier for me, like I've said, because Don makes the mains and a lot of people help out by bringing sides. So I'm just going to walk through my kitchen and my rooms and kind of show you what I've done since I last saw you yesterday to get ready. I spent the morning prepping my desserts. That's basically the thing I'm making other than the two things I made yesterday, which were the spinach squares and the cornbread pudding. Pie is really easy, but it's just got a lot of steps that are time consuming. I'll just pop this open so you can see I have cherry and blueberry cooking. It looks like I need to move the cherry pie over. Hold on. There, that's better. I've never baked pie at the same time before, but fruit pies are basically the same filling. It's, whatever the fruit is, and then some lemon juice and a little sugar and some cornstarch, and then the crust and such. So, I'm trying them at the same time to see how that goes. Sort of an experiment. And I've cleaned up my kitchen of all the appliances and bowls and stuff I was using to prep. Everything's right there, drying in the rack. And I wiped down my counters, even though they'll get dirty again. That's just how it goes. The fridge is basically the same. You can see I put my spinach squares and my cornbread pudding wrapped up that I made yesterday in here. I prepped some veggies for snacks, and I washed some cherries to put out, and that's about the only different things in there. I went ahead and brought up my trash cans. I need to make new signs for them, a rubbish and recycle sign. And I went ahead and I made a more detailed to-do list for today. You can see in my calendar I said see list. Because there's too much that I can to write that I could fit in that little space. So I made a little to-do list. I'm already well through it. It's only 1 and my party's not till 5, so I think I'm going to be okay. And I just started checking off things that I'd completed. And I also made a more detailed guest list, so I knew exactly how many guests were coming. I already knew, but because I baked cookies last night and I put them in little to-go bags, I need to know how many to-go bags to make. So like I showed in my video from last year, whenever I'm having a party, I always use this table to sort of set up my platters and serving pieces and snack things that aren't, refrigerated. I decided to leave the table small. I didn't put the leaf in because even though it's like beastly hot outside, people might be going in and out this door, and if the table is longer, it just kind of gets in the way of the flow of traffic. And I did put out the cushions this morning and some extra folding chairs and little tables and things to make more seating areas. So that's all done, and is looking nice. But on the table here, basically all my snack stuff is on this side, and then my dinner stuff is on this side. So because it's barbecue, we're having ribs and lamb chops. We're gonna have a rack of lamb. I think it's rack of lamb. I always put out these wet ones, little single hand wipes for people to take. These are the platters for the meats, one for lamb, one for ribs. Plastic cutlery, paper napkins, paper plates, and the serving pieces I need, the serving utensils for these sides. Now, my mother is bringing a side, and my mother-in-law is bringing a side, and my sister-in-law is bringing a side, and I made the cornbread pudding that you saw in the fridge. So that's why there's no serving pieces out, because they're all bringing them in items I can serve in, which is very, very helpful. But I do have backup serving pieces if necessary. And then the rest of the table is basically snacks, and I think I mentioned this in last year's video, a good idea to do if you're having people help you or you need help kind of thinking through what platters you're going to use for what. I recommend putting little post-it notes on the platters with what's going to go on them, especially if you're having somebody helping you, and that way they don't have to ask you every time, like, oh, what goes in here? And it says veggies, and they can figure it out themselves. So I have a platter for an appetizer that my Aunt Julie is bringing, little salami and provolone roll-ups. And then this is for all, I have 6 different kinds of veggies and for hummus. And then those 2 platters are for the hot appetizers like the spinach squares, which I will cut and heat up and serve. And then we have pigs in blankets that I just bought. They're by like Nathan's Hebrew National, whatever the thing is. And you can just put them in the toaster. They're frozen. And then I have a thing set up for chips and guacamole, and then I have a little salsa over there, and you just get another bowl for the salsa, I just realized. And then I have another one for potato chips and onion dip. So as you can see, I'm using all of my plastic serverware today because, like I said, there's a chance we'll go outside. Generally, when it's this hot, it's about 95 degrees out today and fairly humid. I don't bring the food out because it just wilts, basically, and it gets kind of buggy and muggy and things get soggy. But just in case, I like to have it already on the plastic, so if people want to bring the food outside, they just take the trays and stuff outside, and I don't have to worry about things breaking or my nice things getting scuffed up outside. And then I have all the chips related to the things next to them. I have these fun little wooden bowls that I put nuts and pretzels and things in. Again, they are safe to go outside. They're not, I don't know if they're really wood. Are they like bamboo or something? And I've got pretzels and pretzel M&Ms and different kinds of nuts. And then lastly over here, I always have a tray with water things set up that will go at the end of my counter when I'm done with the prep work. And I'll have 2 little dishes of cut lemons and limes to go in there. So there's water's always there and people always know where to find it. I have a citronella candle to go out on the table. I'm just waiting until it's not quite so sunny out because I don't want it to melt. And then these are the snack plates and napkins I have. I have a set that can go outside and a set that stays in here on the coffee table, but I'm just waiting to kind of see till I decide about that. Then over here, oh, this is the bins that I pulled all those things out of, and this bin actually has the placemats and coasters that I use for outside, so I will pull those out and rest them on the edge of the table until we go outside. But I just wanted to show you, if you guys watched my mudroom organization video, you will remember they came out of that closet. So I just left them out to show you, but I'm going to put them away. But it's just very convenient to have them so close. And then I already set up the dessert buffet. I changed out the runner. Now this blue runner we got from Crate and Barrel many years ago, and it's got stains all over it from dip pies and things. It used to be my summer runner. But you can see stains that I just couldn't get out. So now what I do is I just put that out every time we have a barbecue, and then I know I don't have to worry about my nice runner getting stained because I'm using my party runner. So instead of, just like giving it away or whatever, now I can still use it. It just has a singular purpose. And I still have to get out my pie cutters, but one of each pie is going to go on each plate. And I'm going to have a little, another little, here you can see another stain, another little plate with ice cream pints on it. But I won't put those out till right before we serve dessert or after dinner, because it's sort of a serve yourself situation. I have forks and spoons and some of the leftover cookies that I didn't package up to send with people in case people just want like a quick bite or something like that. So yes, you've seen that. That's all the same. The fridge is the same. It just has Don's ribs in it now. I'll cover it up. And the relish that he makes is in that fridge too. And I did go ahead and put the leaf in this table because it's so hot out. I'm afraid that a lot of people are going to want to sit inside to eat because it just might be too hot to eat outside, if you know what I mean. Sometimes you can just sit outside and like drink a margarita or something, but to eat is hot. So I put the leaf in this one. So this will seat 8 and the other will seat 6, and we have 19. 4 people can sit at the bar and I don't need to sit down. So if everybody wants to sit inside, that's what we'll do. But I like using these, sorry about the fuzziness, these vinyl tablecloths for barbecues. First of all, a barbecue is a very casual party, I think, unless it's like a specifically very fancy barbecue. So I think vinyl is okay to use. Plus, it's so easy to clean with the sauce. Like, it's sticky and kind of congeals and stuff. It just makes it easier to do that. And I did go ahead and, oh, come on, camera, you can do it. Open up our bar, which you can see here. Don went to the liquor store a couple of days ago and stocked up on some things, some vodka and such. And I always set it up like this. I always have hard liquor on this side with my little pitchers, which I'll put in right before the party starts, with cranberry juice, orange juice, and olive juice, and I'll put out olives and cut limes and lemons in little dishes. And this side's always wine, and I'll put out a white wine and a red, and the wine openers here and cups, and it's all plastic just to make my life a little bit easier. But for barbecues, we usually serve our homemade margaritas, like I mentioned. The limeade's in the fridge until the party, but at which point I'll bring out one of the big pitchers and put it out here. We have the Patron I can't say this, Añejo. I don't speak Spanish, but this is our favorite tequila for margaritas, and then Cointreau, and those are the 3 components we use for our margaritas. And I'll have 2 little plates, one with salt in it and one with cut limes. And when I cut the limes, I cut a little like slit at the top of the lime so it's easy to run around the rim of your glass, if you know what I mean, and then you kind of dip your glass in the salt and it just works better. And the pitcher, we'll make a big pitcher to start, and then it'll be sort of a build your own pitcher once it runs out kind of situation. But it's all family coming to this party, and they're used to our summer parties and kind of the laid back atmosphere. Sort of a do-it-yourself thing. And these little placemats I always put out when we're serving margaritas because they can get rather sticky and messy. People won't necessarily put things back on the trays like I have them. I mean, you know, it's a party. So sometimes things end up over here, over there, and that's fine. But I just try to protect my bar top as much as possible. So that's all ready. And I did prep a few days ago. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, by turning down our thermostat a couple of degrees. In the summer, I generally keep the thermostat at 71. I've had it down to 69 for a few days now, and I think it's 70 upstairs. It's still going to get to like 74, 75 in here by the time everybody's here and people are going in and out the doors, and just having 20 bodies in the house, the temperature's going to go up, but at least it won't be like 78. So that's one of my tips, is to lower your thermostat. I do it no matter what time of year I'm having a party, whether it's, you know, the winter or the summer. I'll just lower it by a couple of degrees because it's easy to warm up, you know, just add other layers or step outside if it's summer, but it's not easy to cool down, I find. And then here is my basket with my chocolate chip cookie take-home treats for people to take with them when they go. When people start leaving, I'll make sure each family, each household basically gets a bag, and there's half a dozen cookies in each bag. So, other than that, the house is clean. You know, it usually is. Powder room is stocked with toilet paper and extra Kleenex. I I generally don't like candles in the summer just because it's already hot, so what's the point? I need to bring up the bin with the markers and things for the girls. I always have, my nieces are here, so I always have things for them to do, like puzzles and little dolls and things. And I just bought a couple new things this year. They've requested markers. I've had crayons in the past, and now they want markers, so I got markers and a new coloring book. And that's about it. So now, while my pies are baking, I'm going to take a break and have lunch. And then I'll probably check back a little bit later, kind of show you the right before the party look, how things are. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll wrap up tomorrow and tell you how everything went. I forgot to show how I pull out my s'mores basket. If you've watched my pantry video from a year ago or so, you'll know that I always have a basket of s'mores supplies on hand. I did get some fresh supplies I showed yesterday, and I just put it up there because that's where I tuck my kitchen stool, because the trash cans usually go there just in case we decide to do that. I know it might be too hot today. And I put out a water dish and placemat for my sister-in-law's dog, Yoda. And I forgot to show those things, so there you go. I just filmed a bit right before the party started. This is how I had set up my dessert buffet. Pies can be kept out at room temperature, so I just kind of like to display them when we have barbecues, and the cookies are fine out too. And then those are the snacks that I could put out right away that didn't include the ones some guests were bringing, and the hot ones. And here's the water, like I mentioned, set up on the counter where it usually is. Don bringing his rack of lamb up to room temperature after he rubbed it. And I did put out some fresh cherries washed and dried with some cups for serving if guests wanted to help themselves to that with a little scoop. Outside, you can see I put the outdoor placemats and coasters out and some things for my nieces to do if they spent some time outside. It was really hot. We didn't spend a lot of time outside till the sun went down, but I like being prepared just in case. Here I have my trays set up for my hot hors d'oeuvres ready to go, and we're bringing the relishes and barbecue sauces up to room temperature. We just set those out a little bit ahead, and there are my hot appetizers ready to be heated up and served when the guests arrive. And then I did finish setting up the bar. This was like moments before the guests came. So I put out the ice. We made a pitcher of margaritas. You can see I've got all the limes out and all the bar accessories I talked about. All the juices are in the pitchers now, and I put out the olives. And it's all set up for self-serve, ready to go. Then this part of the footage I took during the party, so you can see some of the sides and things that my family brought. And there's one of my nieces playing with Winnie. And over here we have everybody sitting inside because it was so hot. And then here is a shot of how I set up the buffet in the kitchen with all the sides you can see. And Don's beautiful smoked meats and homemade sauces and relishes. And it was a big hit with everybody. And I've got all the utensils out for people and plates on the beginning of the bar. And that's it. So as you can see, it was a pretty successful party. Everybody was really happy. The margaritas turned out great. The food was fantastic. Don did such a good job, and everybody loved the pie and all that. So it was a really fun, relaxed evening. People stayed till about 10:30, 11 or so, 10:30. So I mean, that's a long party, and people were pretty happy. It was like 96 degrees or something that day, so I didn't have a chance to, we didn't really spend a lot of time outside until after the sun went down, which was fine. So a lot of people were just sort of like congregating in the family room, but I left all the snacks inside. It was way too hot to put food outside. Nobody wanted to sit outside anyway, but some people did eat dinner outside, so it went really well. And then I did film some stuff after post-party, showing you my cleaning up. I did do a lot of cleaning on party. After the party ended, I stayed up until about 11:30. So I spent about an hour and a half or 2 hours, because towards the end of the party I started cleaning instead of hanging out more, because people started leaving about 9, between 9 and 10, 10:30, they were just kind of trickling out the door. So that's when I was doing all my dishes and putting away the food, because I cannot not go to bed without my house looking at least somewhat clean and with food out. I just can't. Not that kind of person. So Sunday night, towards the end of the party and after most of the people had left, I made sure to put away all the food, and I cleaned about 95% of the platters and things, because they all had food kind of on them, and I just don't like leaving plates and stuff out with food on them. And I just stack things up on the counter for me to put away the next morning. So basically what I do after a party, if it's like a nighttime party like this one where I'm gonna have to go to bed and I'm exhausted at that point anyway, I do as much of the actual dishwashing and putting away of food that I possibly can. And then the next day is when I will, put the serving pieces away and kind of put my furniture back and wipe down tables and stuff like that. Unless there's like a lot of food on a table, in which case I will wipe things down ahead of time. I always wipe down the bar when we're having margaritas before I go to bed after the party, because that could get really sticky with the limeade and such. But anyway, I'll show you the little clips I have from post-party, and then I'll catch you on the flip side.
Well, it's the morning after the party. Winnie's a little bit tired. She got exhausted last night. I'm sorry I'm talking quietly. My guests and husband are still asleep. It's a little after 7:30. Last night, party started at 5. The last guests, well, I went to bed at 11:30. Most of the guests left by 10:30, or by 10, and then Don and my brother-in-law and my cousin stayed up until like 3 in the morning playing poker. So it was a good party, all said. But I just thought I'd show you what I do to clean up the night before, because I just came down a few minutes ago and this is what the house looks like. I'm one of those people who just can't go to sleep with dirty stuff out. At least, like food items. I can't. So last night I spent a couple of hours cleaning all of the platters and things that had food on them, and I dried them and I stacked them over here. I always do this year-round, no matter what party. And then the next day, like today, I put them away. But I just stack them over there because that's not a frequently used space. First thing in the morning for us, we're generally over there at the coffee machine, so I'll just pull my bins out and put those things away. Once everybody's up, I don't want to be clanging stuff around when they're still asleep. And I have a few things still drying in the rack, but that's all right. I did run the dishwasher last night, so it has to be emptied, but I made a point of cleaning all my counters. I mean, you guys, I didn't show you what the mess that this was at the end of the party, but it was pretty messy. But I cleaned off all my counters and my sink just to get all the sticky stuff off. And I stacked all of my paper goods over here because those go in a different bin. So I'll put those away. And the guys who were playing poker were playing here last night, so I didn't get a chance to clean this table off. So it's got some crumbs on it. You can see I'll have to clean. But again, I'm going to wait to do any of that stuff till everybody's awake because I don't want to bother anybody. But last night I just made a point of bringing in my little coasters and placemats that I had outside, just in case of any inclement weather. I just realized I left the kids' things out there, but I would have brought those in otherwise. Obviously put away all leftover food. Here, I wanted to show you guys. This is what happens at my barbecues to my runners. Do you see these stains? That's from the blueberry pie. And over here was where the cherry was. It's just, oh, sorry about the focusing. Even if I have them on I have them on those huge platters, it doesn't matter. So that's why I use this runner, but I'll do my best to get some of the spots out. I'll probably send that to the cleaners. But you can see that's all cleared off. I need to vacuum. I didn't do that last night. I usually don't vacuum. I mean, I usually do vacuum, but one of my guests went to bed kind of early, and I didn't want to run a loud vacuum and wake him up. And the girl's stuff I have to put away. That bin has all of my little plastic containers and stuff. This actually lives in the garage. Takeaway stuff. And I just pull that in when I'm having people collect their own leftovers. And then they can just fill with whatever size they need. And this table, I did have a chance to clean. So you can see I cleaned it off, but I need to put everything away, which I'll do today. And I did clear off the bar in as much as I could. And everything else is pretty clean. And I just picked up all the paper products that were left outside and in the basement last night. So today it's really just putting things away and a little surface cleaning and some vacuuming, and I'm all set. But it actually, I know I can't sleep until I do the majority of the dishes anyway, so it makes it easier for me. You gotta figure out what works for you and what you're comfortable with. So there you have it.
Well, there you have it. I realized that this video, for being like an organizational person here on YouTube, this video isn't really all that organized. In hindsight, I would have done that differently. But, you live, you learn. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope that maybe you gleaned some inspiration from this for your future parties. My main tips are to make a week ahead basic list where you go through and kind of figure out each day what you need to do, so you don't have to do like 8,000 things a day before the party. I like spreading it out so it's like a couple things each day and it's not so overwhelming, especially when it's combined with, prepping for house guests and kind of like end of spring, beginning of summer house things that I always do, like putting away my spring decorations, setting up my house for summer, prepping my outdoors, getting my garage cleaned, getting out the pillows and stuff, and such like that. So having all those additional components for this particular party, my Memorial Day weekend party, just really helps to have this list and makes it much more manageable to break the things up. So it's, like I said, only 1 or 2 things a day, and I'm not like going nutto in one day trying to like do so many things. That and setting your menu and ahead of time, really thinking about it, making sure that you finalize whoever's might be bringing something, what they're bringing. Surprise, food is always nice, but it can kind of throw you off your game if somebody brings like a huge side or something that you're just not prepared for and you haven't set up for it, and then you have to like go looking for utensils and like serving pieces and stuff. It's just nice to clarify with your guests beforehand what, if anything, they're bringing so you can prepare. If, like I said, if this hadn't been a party where I was also hosting guests, I would have set out my platters and stuff further in advance. I really do recommend that. And using the Post-it note system if you are, kind of new to party throwing or just need help kind of remembering what goes in what platter. Or if you're having somebody help you who maybe can't read your mind and doesn't know, so they don't have to ask you every 5 seconds, what goes in this platter and what should I put in this bowl? If you have a little Post-it notes marking each serving piece with what goes in it, that really helps. Just remember to take the Post-it notes out before you put the food in. And really just doing as much ahead of time as possible so you can enjoy your party and your guests. It's really hard for me to relax during a party because I'm always up running around making sure everybody has everything they need, making sure the food is, the chips are like full and the platters and everybody has everything they need in terms of drinks and that they're comfortable. So I spend a lot of time doing that, but it also gives me a chance to talk to guests. Of course, there are moments when I have to be working in the kitchen on things, but being prepared ahead of time means I have everything set out before guests get there, and I'm not running around doing that kind of stuff when they're there. I'm running around doing other kinds of things, but that's just who I am as a hostess, I guess. I'm just always want to make sure everybody is as comfortable as possible. So anyway, it was a wild success, and I very much enjoyed it. It is sadly our only barbecue, like big scale barbecue this year. We usually have one Memorial Day weekend, 4th of July, and then Labor Day weekend. 4th of July, we're actually going to be out of town this year. And then Labor Day weekend, we are Don and I are both standing up in a wedding of 2 of our high school friends are getting married, which is really, really special. And we're in it together, which is so neat. So I won't be having that party either. So this was sort of like my only big scale party this year. I'll probably throw a much smaller thing for Father's Day and maybe another smaller thing later on in the summer. But I wanted to share my preparations for you and a bit of the experience of my party through those clips and stuff so you guys could see how it goes for me when I throw these larger scale barbecues, and hopefully, you know, get something from it. And I would love to hear what you guys do for barbecues or summer parties, some of your preparatory tips. If you have some that you are willing to share, please leave a comment below. I'll be back soon with new videos coming up next week, and I will see you then. Take care, you guys. Happy summer. Bye.